Today, I'm highlighting the results of a few important studies that have helped to pave the way for the sport of swimming. For the sake of time, we won't look at all of these studies in depth, but I went ahead and placed a few of the links in the description for you. So once this video is over, if you still have questions and doubts, then go ahead and check out those research links. And then once you're done with those, you can head over to usrpt.com and we'll chat over the forum. The first study we're going to take a look at followed two groups of swimmers over the course of 25 weeks. For the first 10 weeks and the last 10 weeks of the study, both groups only trained once a day. During the middle of the study, however, one of those groups switched to doubles for 5 weeks, and then they switched back to singles for the remainder of the study. They monitored these swimmers over the course of the 25 weeks, and at no point did any of those groups experience any advantage in aerobic capacity or in performance, which essentially means that training twice a day was a waste of time. A similar study compared two groups of swimmers again. One group swam 10K a day, one group swam 5K a day. After 4 years of training, here's what they noticed. Nothing. Both groups improved at the same percentage, and neither group had a performance advantage again. Not in the 100, 200, mile, etc. You get the picture. You know, the more studies we look at, the more it becomes clear that if you want to swim faster, then more yardage is not the answer. To find the answer to swimming faster, we need to look at another set of studies. The study that I want to look at now followed 100-meter swimmers and 200-meter swimmers over the course of 44 weeks. During the 44 weeks, each swimmer was assigned a specific intensity, which was measured by blood lactate concentration. What they found out in this study was the same thing they found out in the prior study, was that volume had no effect on performance. But they also made a really important discovery. They discovered that at the end of the season, the swimmers who made the biggest improvements were those who performed most of their training at higher paces, at race paces. So now we're getting to the good stuff. Why would swimmers training at higher speeds perform significantly better than swimmers training at lower speeds? The answer is specificity. In the Encyclopedia of Sports Medicine, Chapter 13 addresses a topic called the training adaptation of the neuromuscular system. And under a subheading on specificity, it says, the training exercises should stimulate the sport task parameters as closely as possible to induce adaptations that could be transferred to the sport movement. And that's what we're really looking for here, transfer. We want the transfer to come from practice over to the race. And it's not realistic to train at low speeds and expect that transfer to come to your racing speeds, because your brain treats slow swimming and fast swimming as two completely different activities. So if you really want the greatest possible improvement in a performance, then you have to properly train your brain by simulating racing conditions. This is what we call race-pace training. Now, if you're following my train of thought, then you know that's not exactly great news, because our bodies cannot sustain race pace for a 2-hour practice. The fatigue alone would prevent you from doing anything worthwhile. And this was a very real obstacle until a group of Swedish researchers tackled it. They discovered that by keeping both the work and the recovery intervals short, athletes could maintain very high intensity work. When they trained with these short intervals, there was no lactate buildup, and the glycogen levels remained really high. So they essentially avoided fatigue. Any training that uses these intervals is referred to as ultra-short training. So what we're seeing is that there's no evidence to suggest that more yardage is better, and research indicates that it's at best a waste of time. What you should really be doing is training at race pace. But in order to train at race pace, the only way you can maintain that is by using ultra-short race intervals. And I think it's really important for people to realize that USRPT is not just an excuse to swim 25s and 50s all the time. It's a response to the evidence. And the evidence clearly says that more yardage is not the answer. Race-based training is the answer. Evidence-based coaching is the answer. Now, you can take my word for it, or you can go ahead and investigate the evidence for yourself. But once you understand the evidence for USRPT, it's time to take the next step and start writing workouts. In the next video, I will show you how to write your own USRPT workouts. And if you want me to write a workout for you, leave a comment or send me a tweet. Thanks for watching.